Hi, welcome to Ask Ellen. Real questions, real talk, real change. My name's Ellen. I'm a personal coach and I like to help women get through the bumps and the hiccups in their lives so they can move forward and have a happier life. Today I want to talk about something we all do. We tell ourselves stories and somehow, sometimes, those stories aren't true. But they find their way into our minds and they stay. Why can't the ones that are really good stay as easily as the ones that, well, aren't so great? Those silly little lies that we tell ourselves that get, boom, implanted. And they're harder to get rid of. Why is it like that? I don't know why it's so easy to hold on to the bad than it is to hold on to the good. But maybe today, while we're talking about the 5 lies we tell ourselves, we'll find out a way to hold on to the good things that we can think about and leave those lies someplace else. Let's get into it. The first lie we tell ourselves is that it's too late. Too late for what? It's funny. It makes it easy for us to just not try, to not push ourselves a little bit more, to not make ourselves vulnerable. It's too late. I'm too old. I should have done that when I was 20. I can't possibly try that now. These are so easy to say. And on some level, yes, okay, maybe it would have been easier if we tried this at 20, and instead we're trying it at 55, but it doesn't mean that it's too late. It doesn't mean that that's the end. Okay, maybe there's a contest, and you need to fill in your application between January and June. And now that it's July, or now that it's August, it's too late. Fine. That's obviously not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the fact that you think it's too late in life to try something. You may not be successful in the things that you try. You may not get the job that you're applying for. You may not learn how to play piano. You may not be able to do a certain task that you're trying. But it's never too late to try. The best thing you can do is put yourself out there. Maybe by putting yourself out there, you learn that this maybe isn't what you want to do. But putting yourself out there, you were able to break that barrier of being nervous to do it, being scared to do it. When we're nervous and scared, we make up an excuse. And what's the excuse? Oh, it's too late. Oh, that was easy. And you hold on to that. It's never too late. The only time when it's truly too late is when you stop trying. The second lie we tell ourselves is that I'm not good enough. This lie shows up in so many different ways. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not confident enough. I'm not experienced enough. And because we believe this lie, we don't apply to a job that we might want. We don't speak up when we feel like we need to. And we don't start something new. I feel like a lot of times we believe this lie, the I'm not good enough, because someone in our past, probably someone you looked up to, made you feel less than at some point in your life. And because it came from somebody that meant something to you, whether it was a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, or even a close friend, when someone like that, someone that close to you, especially when you're young, if they show you some way that you're just not good enough, it plants itself in your brain. And you become that person who believes it. Because why would that person say it when they didn't mean it? Why would that person say it and hurt you in that way? Why would that person, the person you trusted, make you feel less than? There's a whole bunch of diving into that kind of stuff to help you move forward. But in this video, I just want you to know you are good enough. You can apply to that job. You can speak up. You do have the ability to start right now. You are enough. Now, maybe you apply to the job and you don't get it because somebody else is more qualified. But that didn't mean that you weren't allowed to apply. That didn't mean you weren't good enough to put your hat in the ring and see if you can get the job. Your self-doubt does not mean you're not good enough. It just means you need to push yourself a little bit more so that you can get rid of that self-doubt. The more times you push that aside and say, no, I'm gonna do it anyways, helps you to realize you are good enough to try. I don't know if you'll succeed. I don't know if you'll get the job. I don't know if when you speak up, you'll be listened to, but you are good enough to try. You are good enough to take that step forward. You are good enough to see who you can be. The third lie we tell ourselves is that everyone else has it all figured out. Okay, this hits home in so many different ways because we have our past, and when we were little and we're in school and you see other kids are doing better at something that you're just not doing well at. Maybe they're learning math quicker and easier. Maybe they're able to do these reports without even trying. Maybe they're able to do a sport that you just cannot do. And you figure out that these people, because they can do things a little quicker, they must be better. They must be better. That one must be better. And then you get into, you've graduated, you're out of college, and you're in a new job, and you see this person has more experience, but somehow you put them on a pedestal because they have more experience. And because they have more experience, you think they have it all figured out. Because they're doing well in their job, they must have it all figured out. Because now you're comparing yourself again. And because you did it as a child, now that you're an adult, you figure someone else has it figured out better than you do. Then maybe you become a mom and you realize, I don't know what I'm doing here. And you keep trying, and you now see all the social media stuff, and you see, oh, they've got it all figured out. This woman can get dressed, put on her makeup, have her hair done perfectly. She can make her 4 kids breakfast from scratch, and everything's great. You start believing that they have it all figured out and you don't. But here's the thing. You're only seeing part of that person's life. The one that was great at sports may not be good at math. The one that was great at math may not be good at sports. You didn't follow the other people that were just like you, that stumbled maybe here, but did well here. You were looking at all the things that maybe you weren't so great at and comparing yourself to those people, which really is not fair for you. But then you get into work and you see all these people and they're doing really well at work. That doesn't mean that they're doing really well at home. You don't know what's going on in other people's lives, and you're never going to know what everyone else is doing. So you need to stop comparing yourself to this unrealistic expectation that you put on them. They probably do not have it all figured out. When they make a video and they put it on YouTube or they put it on their TikTok, and you believe that their whole life is as perfect as this edited rendition of their lives, that's more on you, not that person. I can guarantee that that person does not have everything else figured out. It's okay that you don't have everything figured out right now. You're not supposed to. Life is about new choices, new experiences, new learning things. Once you learn something, you learn something new. Once you figure out this thing, guess what? There's something else to figure out. Nobody has it all figured out. It's okay, because that's how we learn. That's how you learn. All you can do is the best that you can do at any given time, with any given circumstance. So be kinder to yourself and know that people do not have it all figured out. And that's a good thing. Maybe you just have to be okay with knowing that you are doing the best you can do. Maybe you just have to remember that you don't have to have it all figured out. The fourth lie that we tell ourselves is that I have to do everything myself. A lot of people fall into this habit of, I got it. And as you know, if you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about this a lot. I used to be like that. I used to be that person that thought I had to do everything myself. But when I lived my life that way, I was exhausted. I was defeated. I felt less than because I was doing too much and I was worn out all the time. How is doing everything making me feel less than how I was feeling before? It's because I lowered all my energy by doing too much. And I couldn't focus on the things that made me happy. I couldn't focus on the things that made me strong. I couldn't focus on the tasks and the chores and the things that I enjoyed because I was trying to do too much. Once I started asking for help, once I started letting the people that knew what they were doing do the things that I couldn't do that well, then I could start focusing on the things I did do well. I could start focus on the things that made me happy. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. If a loved one or a good friend of yours asked for help, would you think any less of them? I'm sure you just said no. So why? Why do you think less of yourself for asking for help? It's the same thing. If someone can help you, they're willing to do it. If someone has offered to help you, they're willing to do it. Let people help where they can. Ask for help where you need it. It's not showing weakness by asking for help. It's actually showing strength. Strength that you know that you need the help. Strength to show that you know that person does this task better than you. Strength knowing that you can now put that energy that you've freed up into something that you love and something that you care about. And the fifth lie that we tell ourselves is that nothing is ever going to change. This one kind of makes me laugh because we all fall into this at some point in our lives. But I'll tell you this, change is inevitable. It will always happen. Change happens all the time. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you realize that you can make the change that you need to have happen. Now, okay, some things need to be tweaked a little differently. Say you've tried something and it didn't work. If you keep trying the same way and it's still not working, your brain is going to say, hey, this isn't working. It's never gonna work. Might as well stop. Say there's something that your manager does that just drives you crazy. Now, this is just an example. I'm not tapping into anybody's life here. It's just so that I can explain it a little bit better. But let's say the boss always says on Monday, did you do this thing? And yeah, of course you did. You know that every Monday you do this thing. But for the past 30 weeks, your manager keeps saying to you, did you do this thing? And every week you're getting madder and madder. And you just say to yourself, well, this is how my boss is. My boss will always say this on a Monday. Things aren't going to change. Well, maybe you need to let your manager know, hey, I've got this. You don't need to remind me every Monday because I do it every Monday. Let me fail first, but I guarantee I'm not going to fail because I do this every Monday. You don't need to remind me anymore. Maybe that's enough. Maybe it's not. Maybe by you saying that, your manager still says it. Well, now it's how do you react to your boss doing that? So the first way to change was to address it. If that doesn't make the change, now you need to do a different thing to have there be a change. So if you know that your manager will always say the same thing on Monday that drives you crazy, have you done this thing yet? Yeah, I did. Maybe your reaction to the boss saying this to you all the time needs to change. And instead of being mad or angry, just say, here it comes, here it is, and let yourself not be upset because it's not about you. It's what the boss needs to say to check off the list. It's not about you. So when you realize it's not about you, you can move on. So there is a change. Yes, that part of it didn't change, but your reaction to it did. So there's always ways to make things change so that you don't ever have to say, nothing is ever going to change. When we don't make changes, when we don't try to find an alternate route, when we don't try to fix a thing that might not be working with us, that's where we fail. That's where we hit the roadblock and we don't move forward. It's how we remain stagnant. It's how we remain in this place that we don't want to be. The only way you can move forward out of that place of nothing's ever going to change is to make the change. Now, okay, that could be a little scary at times, but remember this. If you've made a change and you don't like that change, make another change. Then you know for a fact that there's always going to be change. And then you'll stop saying nothing is ever going to change. When you look at these 5 lies that we tell ourselves that pop up in our minds, I want you to notice something. None of these things are facts. They're just beliefs that pop themselves in your head, and somehow you keep the beliefs there, but you forget that beliefs can change. You don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head. And sometimes you need to step back and ask yourself, hey, do I really believe this? Or is this a fact? And if it is a fact, great. But if it's not a fact, do you really believe it? And if you don't really believe it, make the change that needs to happen. Remember, if something is helping you right now, hold on to it or do more of that thing. But if something is keeping you stuck, it's now time to change. It's now time to let go of that silly belief and find the fact that makes you move forward. Find that thing that will make you change. Find that thing that helps you grow. Sometimes changing your life is just by removing the lies we're telling ourselves and embracing something that might be a little bit unfamiliar, something that's a little different, something that we haven't been thinking about before. Sometimes changing the beliefs that you have that really aren't your beliefs anymore will help you move forward and be happier, because now you're making the changes that you need in your life. If this video helped you at all, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Is there something else that you want me to talk about? Is there something going on in your life that you have a question about? Let me know. Put it in the comments. I'd be more than happy to make a video on it. I thank you for being here today. This is Ask Ellen. I'm Ellen. Real questions, real talk, real change. I'll see you in the next one.